Time tonight at 7:30.
The founder of the Soviet secret police, his statue comes down as the people celebrate their victory. Mikhail Gorbachev returns to Moscow, tired and angry, but still defending a place to the Communist Party.
This is NBC Nightly News with Tom Brokaw. Reporting tonight from NBC News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. Mikhail Gorbachev is back in the Kremlin tonight, still alive, still in office, but his power and his future seem to be significantly diminished. As he begins the process of working that out with Boris Yeltsin and the others who saved him, the people now have reclaimed the streets of their country. We'll begin tonight with NBC's Jim Maceda in Moscow.
First, defenses came down. The last tanks loyal to Boris Yeltsin abandoned positions they'd held for 4 days. For those they had protected, the first sign the coup had really failed. The barricades came down. Mikhail Gorbachev had returned, but the people around the Russian parliament building were more interested in seeing their real hero, Yeltsin. Already something was stirring.
The crew leaders, the KGB, those were the dark forces in our country. Now we've beat them.
A dragon had been slain, an age-old burden lifted.
Now we'll be able to breathe freely. This is the real revolution, the revolution of 1991.
And like all revolutions, it found release in the streets. Crowds kicked in doors of KGB offices, sealed off Communist Party cells. The flag of the new revolution, the tricolor of Tsarist Russia. The crowd moved through Red Square, mocking one symbol, Lenin's tomb, then another square and another symbol, Lubyanka, the headquarters and prison of the KGB. One official suggested this day be declared Russian Independence Day, but no one needed an excuse to celebrate.
We are very happy to be Russian. Today we are Russian, that's all.
And it wasn't Gorbachev in these Russians' hearts.
If there weren't Yeltsin, we wouldn't have a leader we'd listen to.
As the noose went around the neck of Felix Dzerzhinsky, founder of the KGB, officers inside could only watch in disbelief. Outside, people were beginning to believe in a new emotion, joy.
I think this day give us a new future.
As cranes were brought in to topple the statue of oppression, some reflected on what the new revolution would bring.
A new life, to feel the freedom.
For others, the joy of the moment was enough. Jim Maceda, NBC News, Moscow.
Many were surprised that Gorbachev didn't go first to the Russian parliament to publicly and personally thank Boris Yeltsin for holding the line against the coup and saving Gorbachev. NBC's Bob Abernathy tonight takes us through Gorbachev's first day back on the job and the many challenges ahead for him now. Bob?
Tom, angry, shaken, and bitter, Mikhail Gorbachev tried to pick up his presidency today after 72 hours as the prisoner of men he thought he could trust.
Early this morning, looking deeply tired, Gorbachev arrived back in Moscow with his family. Their ordeal had caused Raisa Gorbachev to have a bad spell yesterday, Gorbachev said, but he hoped it was temporary. Gorbachev thanked all those who'd saved democracy here and his life.
I recognize the role played by the Russian people and by their president, Boris Yeltsin.
Yeltsin, the hero of the resistance, drew a standing ovation at the Russian parliament and, to applause with every name, announced the fates of the coup leaders. Acting President Yanayev, arrested. Defense Minister Yazov, arrested. KGB Chief Khrushchev, arrested. Prime Minister Pavlov, hospitalized and under guard. Interior Minister Pugo, a reported suicide. Others arrested or soon to be. Later, Yeltsin thanked the people who had defended him and Russia's parliament. Russia, he said, had saved the Union. Gorbachev also got a standing ovation today at a news conference where he described how his own chief of staff had led his captors to him.
Поэтому я сказал,
I said you are adventurers. You will ruin yourselves, goddamn you. You will ruin the country too.
и вы погубите себя.
Gorbachev did not give details, but he charged his captors had tried to break him psychologically. Gorbachev was asked many times why he had appointed the kind of men who would attempt a coup. I trusted them, he said, especially Defense Minister Yazov and former KGB Chief Khrushchev. He acknowledged his mistake.
Перед вами
This is a severe test for me to be so disappointed.
It's ironic that Gorbachev, the victim, should be weakened by the coup, but that seems to be the fact. Tomorrow, Gorbachev sits down with the strengthened Yeltsin and the leaders of other republics to talk about how to clean house and share power. Tom?
Thank you, Bob. During that meeting with Gorbachev, Yeltsin and the other leaders of the most powerful republics will not be in a mood to compromise. And a key to that meeting will be the Baltics, with their long history of differences with Moscow. Today, Estonia officially outlawed the Communist Party. NBC's Dennis Murphy managed to get to Tallinn.
The Estonian parliament went on the hunt today. Prime Minister Edgar Savisaar called out the names of the alleged collaborators, the Estonians who helped the Soviet hardliners in the bungled coup. The port manager fired. Managers of the Russian factories rooted out. Some police names, some radio broadcasters, now facing prosecution and dismissal.
It's obvious who is who. And it's also important for us here in Estonia because some part of our political forces have played very dirty games until now.
It almost went unnoticed that Estonia had declared its independence from the Soviet Union in the dark hours when Soviet soldiers seized the republic's TV broadcast tower. A bloody confrontation was diffused by the Prime Minister. After 10 minutes of negotiations with the soldiers, they left, retreating to their barracks. Today, the Estonian government demanded that the Soviets recall certain commanders and limit the role of their military here. In neighboring Latvia, Soviet soldiers killed the director of the TV station there. In Lithuania, where the parliament was barricaded, a local militiaman died in fighting. Today, in Estonia's capital, the nervous tension dissolved in a street party. Some saw independence unexpectedly peeking around the corner.
Today is very important, very, very important. It's the first free day of our life.
Now all three Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, have declared their independence from the Soviet Union. They still don't trust Gorbachev, but Yeltsin is a big, big hero. The Balkan state leaders think they see real independence now in the collapse of the hardliners. But recognition is up to the United States and the West, and whoever or whatever emerges as the Soviet government. Dennis Murphy, NBC News, Tallinn, Estonia.
When we continue in a moment, Gorbachev's new men. What do the White House and the Pentagon think of them?
With the chalky taste of some antacids, it can seem that the cure is worse than the pain. Introducing new Mylanta Cherry and Cool Mint Creams, the best tasting antacids, blended creamier for a non-chalky taste.
No wonder my doctor said Mylanta. These days, there are more pain relievers than ever. But last year, more people switched to Tylenol gel caps than any other. Extra strength Tylenol gel caps. Concentrated, powerful, easy to swallow. Join the switch to Tylenol gel caps.
It's the last 3 days to save at Color Tile. Big savings up to 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. Color Tile, like ceramic tiles now 49 cents. Vinyl styles now 51 cents. All DuPont Stainmaster carpet drastically reduced 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. For example, now only $11.99 a square yard. Plus mini blinds, wall coverings, and wood flooring too. Color Tile, it's your last chance to save 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. Color Tile, only through Sunday.
With Gorbachev now back in the Kremlin, U.S. officials are taking a hard look at the man that he has appointed as his new defense minister, General Mikhail Mosaev. NBC White House correspondent John Cochran tonight.
Tom, the Kennebunkport White House gave a restrained welcome back to Gorbachev. The president himself said all the right things in public, but his aides, who have the advantage of anonymity, were downright critical of Gorbachev. And I'm told that is how Bush himself really feels. The president's aides may have been playing the bad cop, but Bush was the good cop, refusing, for example, to criticize Gorbachev for choosing a suspected hardliner as his new defense minister.
That doesn't exactly come under the heading of our business. I would be a little resentful if somebody told me who I ought to have in my cabinet from Moscow.
And Bush refused to buy the idea that Gorbachev looks weaker because others had to save him, like Boris Yeltsin.
Now, if you ask me, has Boris Yeltsin's stature been enhanced, the answer is clearly yes. But this jumping on Gorbachev, who was taken and held under house arrest with his wife and grandchild, I'm simply not going to be a part of that.
Bush joined the Japanese and West Europeans in lifting the temporary suspension of economic aid to Moscow. But Bush does have an agenda he wants Gorbachev to follow. Move much faster toward a free market economy, reduce military spending, cut off help to Castro's Cuba, and, most important, agree to independence for the Baltic states.
Perhaps recent events will speed the day when you have an agreed path set out for independence of these states. In my view, that would do more to enhance goodwill in the United States than almost any other single thing that could be done.
So Bush is sending a message, politely but firmly. The hardliners are in disarray, and you, Mikhail Gorbachev, no longer have any excuse for moving so slowly toward reform. It is time, Bush thinks, for the real Gorbachev to stand up. Tom?
Thank you, John. General Mosaev is attracting more attention in other quarters as well. A White House official says he wouldn't want Mosaev behind him in a dark hallway. At the Pentagon, however, officials say this is a man they can do business with. NBC's Fred Francis.
Tom, the sharp criticism of Gorbachev's new defense chief is a cheap shot, according to one Pentagon official, who described General Mosaev as a near-perfect pick. The slap at Moiseev by a senior administration official was repeated by Soviet specialists who questioned his loyalty for the job.
He decided to support Gorbachev only when the coup began to collapse and communications between Gorbachev and Moscow were restored.
But those accusations belie everything the Pentagon and the chairman of the Joint Chiefs have learned about the 52-year-old Soviet soldier. Knowledge of Moiseev is extensive and current. General and Mrs. Colin Powell were the guest of the Mosaevs last month. One official said they may not be kissing cousins, but the two generals have become friends. While together, the two spoke of the discontent in the Soviet Union, both in the streets and in the ranks. Moiseev supports reforms, but is not the loudest cheerleader. Powell spoke warmly of Moiseev and confidently of their relationship, saying to senior Soviet officers, quote, General Moiseev and I are now standing side by side looking toward this new vision of the future. I invite you all to stand beside us. During the coup, Moiseev was standing with 99% of all Soviet officers on the sidelines. One senior defense official theorized that Moiseev's selection as the new defense minister was so swift today that he either warned Gorbachev of the coup or was warned by Gorbachev to take a few days off. Another analyst said Moiseev is well respected by the leadership of the Soviet Union's 4.5 million soldiers, and his appointment is political reward to them for staying out of the coup. A coup that we know now was doomed from the start. General Moiseev was out of it, and it was something like Secretary of Defense Dick Cheney trying to take over this country without General Colin Powell by his side. No chance, Tom.
Thank you, Fred Francis at the Pentagon tonight. To prevent another military coup attempt, by the way, Boris Yeltsin and his counterpart in the Ukraine said today that they would form their own national guards for security.
The all-new Pontiac Bonneville. Its anti-lock brakes prove tested to be ready when needed. Its airbag deployed countless times, so it's hoped you'll never see it. Redesigned, re-engineered, and ready to ride. The all-new Pontiac Bonneville.
Like Coach always said, hit him in the numbers.
Who do the pros call for an all-pro deal on hot, delicious pizza? Who do you think?
Hello, Domino's Pizza.
Call
Call now for Domino's kickoff deal. 2 medium cheese pieces with 4 servings of Coca-Cola Classic or Diet Coke for just $9.99. Add your favorite toppings for just a little extra. And get free NFL quarterback trading cards.
Only from Domino's.
Call now, dude.
Your high-fiber cereal.
Tastes like a high-fiber cereal.
But my high-fiber cereal is different.
Why? Because it comes in a big red box?
No, because it's delicious.
Really?
It's the only one with this delicious combination of raisins, dates, nuts, and crunchy clusters.
Keeps sounding better and better.
And crispy high-fiber bran flakes.
That makes it perfect.
That makes it fruit and fiber.
That makes fruit and fiber my high-fiber cereal.
Post fruit and fiber cereal.
Delicious.
Why would you want your fiber any other way?
Joined now by one of our resident Soviet affairs experts, William Hyland, who's the editor of Foreign Affairs Quarterly. Mr. Hyland, do you think that the Soviet Confederation will come very swiftly and the Soviet Union is now gone?
I think it's nearly gone, Tom. I think the rebuilding process that now has to begin is going to be extensive. They've got to rebuild a central government. There's really no 25 ministers supported the coup silently, at least. They've got to rebuild relations with between Russia and the central government and the other republics. They've got to take some action on the economy. So I think the old way of doing business is simply gone.
In their meeting tomorrow, will Boris Yeltsin be dictating to Mikhail Gorbachev, in your judgment?
Well, I think that may be a little strong, but that's what it amounts to, because he has all the high cards. He is the victor in this struggle. Gorbachev looked poignant, I thought, in his remarks and his attempt to explain himself and to try and understand what had happened. And I think Yeltsin is the man of the hour.
What about the Baltics? Any chance the United States will recognize them in the next 6 months or so?
I think the Baltics are on their way to complete independence. Indeed, I think by Christmas the Baltics will be independent of whatever that country is called, the Soviet Union, the USSR. And the United States will probably have a rather substantial bill on its hands to help them out.
Were you surprised today when Mikhail Gorbachev refused to reject the Communist Party as an ongoing enterprise in the Soviet Union?
Not really, because I think that's the one thing that's been difficult to understand about Gorbachev. He is a true believer in the Communist Party and its system. He's been trying to reform it, but even now he doesn't seem to understand that it was that system that tried to overthrow him, indeed may have threatened his life.
William Hyland, editor of Foreign Affairs Quarterly, who has been with us on so many of these occasions and probably will be again. We'll be back with the story of Jim Baker asking for a new sentence in a moment.
This can't be my new apartment. Good thing I brought Lysol Pine Action. They've made it better. Now it cleans with hospital-type disinfection, the strongest you can buy. Now it's starting to feel like home.
Improved Lysol Pine Action, a more powerful pine. When you look at dairy food, does your stomach say no? Introducing new Dairy Ease, a natural nutritional supplement that helps people with lactose intolerance enjoy ice cream, milk, and other delicious dairy food like everyone else. Pleasant-tasting, chewable new Dairy Ease.
Oh, what people do to clean tough stains under the rim. Because for some bowl cleaners, that's a real stretch. Try a different angle. The angle neck of Lysol Toilet Bowl Cleaner. It easily goes under the rim and wipes out stains and germs. Don't get bent out of shape. Get Lysol Toilet Bowl Cleaner, the heavyweight with a powerful angle on cleaning.
It's the last 3 days to save at Color Tile. Big savings up to 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. Color Tile, like ceramic tiles now 49 cents. Vinyl styles now 51 cents. All DuPont Stainmaster carpet drastically reduced 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. For example, now only $11.99 a square yard. Plus mini blinds, wall coverings, and wood flooring too. Color Tile, it's your last chance to save 25 to 50% off ticketed prices. Color Tile, only through Sunday.
You've just poured yourself a bowl of Kellogg's Crispix when?
Hello? Mom, what a surprise. Well, actually, my cereal's sitting in milk.
When will you get back to your Kellogg's Crispix? It's anybody's guess.
Uh-huh. They wouldn't give your money back?
Fortunately, Kellogg's Crispix stays crisp and delicious in milk.
I'm sure Aunt Helen didn't mean it that way.
Even if you can't get to it right away.
Uh-huh. Still crispy. You're absolutely right, Mom.
Kellogg's Crispix, the taste that waits for you.
Evangelist Jim Baker was back in court today in Charlotte, North Carolina, pleading for mercy, trying to get his prison sentence reduced. NBC's Deborah Roberts tonight.
A thinner Jim Baker emerged from the prison van, but his diehard supporters haven't changed.
Oh, bless his heart. Look at his little shoes.
Former PTL members say an appeals court answered their prayers when it ruled Baker's 45-year sentence may have been unfair.
We're taking this place for God and for the victory of Jim Baker.
Tammy Faye Baker arrived to cheers, but some in the crowd still want her husband to serve the full sentence.
By that time, he'll be old enough to understand right from wrong.
It's a rare sentiment in Charlotte. Many left hurt by Baker's scheme think he's suffered enough. Even Sam Johnson, a former PTL minister who nearly lost it all, forgives Baker. But it's not easy.
Jim Baker has left this ministry and he's left this church, but the stigma, the feelings, all of that is there.
Feelings of forgiveness run warmer in the New Covenant Church where Baker's parents attend. Here, they remember only one Jim Baker.
You need to call in and make your reservation right now.
They still praise the dazzling TV minister who, with wife Tammy, collected $160 million from prayer partners to build Heritage USA, a lavish Christian resort. In the midst of Baker's legal troubles, a group of businessmen bought Heritage USA, the multi-million-dollar theme park once Baker's crown jewel. It's scheduled to be reopened next year. Kathy Sims paid into the failed resort, but still won't believe Baker stole her money.
I still don't believe that he really did anything wrong, except that it got out of control. You know, it was just growing too quickly.
A new judge may decide Baker's sentence tomorrow and could release him from prison. Then Jim Baker and Tammy Faye would be free to pick up the pieces and the partners and start a new ministry. Deborah Roberts, NBC News, Charlotte, North Carolina.
Time now for commentary from John Chancellor, who's been looking at the failed lessons of the past coup. John?
Tom, the basic rule in a coup d'etat is if you strike at a king, you must kill him. But the Moscow plotters didn't kill Gorbachev. Instead, they seem to have killed what they were trying to save, the power of the Communist Party. Not only did the plotters fail to kill the king, when their bumbled coup ended, there were two kings, Gorbachev and Boris Yeltsin. They are rivals who have fought bitterly in the past. This week, Yeltsin opposed the plot against Gorbachev only because he knew if it succeeded, they'd be coming for him next. Yet his opposition to the coup may actually have saved Gorbachev's life. Gorbachev thanked Yeltsin today, but it was a kind of tight-lipped kind of thank you. Two very different men. Yeltsin is a rabid opponent of the Communist Party. Gorbachev has a strange, stubborn kind of loyalty to it. He said today he thinks the party should be given what he called a kiss of life and reformed. Yeltsin wants quick and radical political reform. Gorbachev has gone much more slowly. Gorbachev's escape hasn't done much to increase his popularity ratings, which are dismal. A crowd in Red Square today called on him to resign. Earlier, that same crowd had cheered Yeltsin. In the final analysis, this week's drama may have hurt Gorbachev politically. After all, the coup was organized by men he appointed. Yeltsin, of course, has been greatly strengthened by it. You wonder about these two strong, ambitious, clever men. Is Moscow big enough for both of them? Tom?
Thank you, John. On Wall Street today, it was business as usual. Some profit-taking wiped out early morning gains. Stocks today were up in active trading.
It feels to me always like someone's banging on my knuckles with a hammer. It's really uncomfortable.
Today, it isn't aspirin, it's Advil for minor arthritis pain.
Advil just really helps with the pain. It makes it go away. The Advil caused me no upset stomach.
Over 100 million people have tried Advil for many types of pain.
That means to me it must work, and it also means it must be safe, and those are two things that I'm interested in.
Advil, advanced medicine for pain.
Throughout history, great barriers have been discovered and built. Heart's Blockade for dogs and cats is one of them. Used as directed, Heart's Blockade creates an invisible barrier protecting your pets from fleas and ticks before they get a chance to live on your pet. Heart's Blockade repels and kills fleas and ticks, including ticks that carry Lyme disease, reducing the chances of causing discomfort to your pet. Helping to improve your pet's quality of life is your responsibility. Helping you do that is Heart's.
car born of intelligent engineering. It's 100,000 ideas fused into one. It's powerful, smooth, refined. It's a driver's side airbag and anti-lock brakes. Introducing the all-new 88 Royale LS. Oldsmobile. Come see the power of intelligent engineering.
If your doctor has recommended Metamucil and you like the results, but you don't like those glasses of thick liquid, change to FiberCon. Get the same fiber action in easy-to-swallow tablets. Get doctor-recommended FiberCon.
I think I'll make fresh dressing.
Good seasons?
Mm-hmm.
Which oil?
Pick a light one.
Dressing's great.
Good seasons, you make it fresh, you make it best.
It is important to remember tonight that it was Mikhail Gorbachev, after all, who started the change that made it possible for the people to defeat a coup in the Soviet Union, and it has been difficult for him to hold all the pieces together. But now, has his string run out? When Gorbachev returned from Moscow late last night, we wondered, had the coup changed him? Not much, it turns out. Answering a reporter's question, he was Gorbachev long and defiant. Today, he discovered that Soviet journalists have changed.
Earlier, I would have been perhaps afraid to ask such questions. But now, the situation is such that I no longer am afraid of anything.
Gorbachev did keep up on the news during his house arrest.
BBC broadcasts, which was the best, Liberty, and then also the Voice of America.
But he thinks a free press can be troublesome.
Very often we see not a real analysis, but unnecessary rudeness.
Gorbachev is a family man. He worried they would all be killed during their house arrest.
It was very difficult, both for Raisa Maximovna, if she didn't feel well.
Over the past 5 years, we have become accustomed to the personal, energetic, and charismatic style of Mikhail Gorbachev. In past visits to this country, Gorbachev's been treated like a rock star, and apparently he still has a very big following here. A Chicago health club today.
I guess it's an American term, but he was pumped up. He really was.
Pumped up, yes, but Gorbachev is not running for president of the United States. If he was not changed much by the events of this week, his country was. The people saved Gorbachev. Now they'll expect much more of him. So Gorbachev is back, but in many ways he is more isolated than ever before, balanced ever more precariously between the past and the present. That's Nightly News for this Thursday night. This story is far from over. I'm Tom Brokaw. I'll see you tomorrow night, if not before.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you. I'm placing you under arrest. What for? Because I'm a cop, and it's my job to protect innocent citizens from unscrupulous scoundrels.
So why arrest me? I'm just a politician.
You have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you.
Man of the People and Pacific Station, Sundays this fall on NBC.
Starting this Saturday, Carl Lewis, Leroy Burrell, and Jackie Joyner-Kersee lead America's best. The World Championships of Track and Field on NBC.